Imagine a small clothing seller from a village in Maharashtra shipping her cotton t-shirts all the way to Kashmir. For a long time, this was almost impossible. When people thought of online shopping in India, they thought of big names like Amazon and Flipkart, all fighting to win over buyers in big cities. But while these giants were busy chasing the richest customers in metro cities, a new player quietly stepped in and changed the rules of the game. That player is Meesho. Today, it's a publicly listed company worth billions and the most downloaded shopping app in India. This is the story of how Meesho grew in the shadow of much bigger companies, what it did differently to survive, and how it found a massive market that everyone else had ignored. The story starts in 2015. Two friends, Vidit Atre and Sanjeev Bernwal, had good jobs, Vidit in Bangalore, Sanjeev in Tokyo. Both had grown up in small Indian towns, Vidit in Meerut, Sanjeev in Hazaribagh. Around 2015, they noticed something odd. In Bangalore, everyone shopped online. But back home, in their own towns, almost nobody did. At the time, companies like Flipkart and Amazon were focused almost entirely on big cities. That made sense for them. City buyers had more money, picked up new technology faster, and lived where delivery already worked well. But that left out a huge part of the country. India has tens of millions of small businesses, and together they make up most of the country's retail trade. Most of these sellers and their customers in small towns felt online shopping was too expensive and too confusing. Both sides were left out of the digital boom. So Vidit and Sanjeev quit their jobs to fix this. It wasn't easy, and it didn't work on the first try. Their first idea, an app called Fashioneer, tried to connect buyers with local clothing stores nearby. It failed. Buyers wanted more choice, not just what happened to be next door. They shut it down within 3 months. Next, they noticed something interesting. Small shopkeepers were already using WhatsApp to sell to customers. So they built a tool to help manage these WhatsApp sales. But shopkeepers didn't want to pay for it. Finally, they noticed their most active users weren't shopkeepers at all. They were homemakers and regular people selling things from their phones with no shop or stock of their own. That's when Meesho found its real idea. Become a supplier for these people, letting anyone start a small business just by sharing product photos on WhatsApp. By 2020, there were reportedly around 10 million WhatsApp groups built around reselling Meesho products. Then in 2021, as data got cheaper and the pandemic pushed even reluctant users onto apps, Meesho took a bigger risk. It shut down its WhatsApp-based business and launched a direct shopping app instead. It was downloaded roughly 100 million times within a few months. To survive against giants like Amazon and Flipkart, Meesho couldn't just copy what they were doing. And in some ways, it could not even if it wanted to. First, it fixed the biggest problem for small sellers, high fees. On platforms like Amazon or Flipkart, sellers often lose a big chunk of their earnings to commissions and charges. For a small seller working in thin margins, that leaves almost nothing. Meesho decided not to charge commission at all. Sellers keep almost everything they earn, apart from a small delivery fee. Because sellers save money, they often pass some of it on to buyers, which is a big reason products are cheaper on Meesho. Second, it paid sellers faster. On many big platforms, sellers wait weeks to get their money after a sale. For someone who's already spent money buying raw materials, that wait can force them to take an expensive loan just to survive. Meesho cut this waiting time down a lot so sellers could get their money back sooner and use it to grow, instead of borrowing at high interest. Third, Meesho chose not to compete with its own sellers. Big platforms often notice which products sell well and then launch their own version of it. Think Amazon Basics or Flipkart's in-house brands. This can be very profitable for the platform, but it directly hurts the same sellers who made that product popular in the first place. Meesho avoided this entirely. No in-house brands, no competing with its own sellers. Fourth, it treated sellers more equally. Many platforms rank sellers into tiers. The biggest, most established ones get better visibility and cheaper shipping, making it almost impossible for a small new seller to catch up. Meesho didn't do this. A small seller in a village gets roughly the same shot at being seen as a big seller in a city. Finally, if Meesho isn't charging commission, how does it make money? Mostly through advertising. Sellers can pay to get their products shown higher in search results and usually only pay when someone actually clicks. This way, Meesho earns money without cutting into every seller's profit. It's worth being honest here, this model hasn't been cheap for Meesho itself. Building a low-fee, low-price business at this scale takes a lot of money. The company has spent years running at a loss while investing heavily in logistics, technology, and growth. That's common for fast-growing Indian tech companies. In recent years, Meesho's losses have gotten smaller as its revenue has grown fast, but it hasn't yet posted a full-year profit at the company-wide level. So it's more accurate to say Meesho has a shrinking loss inside a genuinely fast-growing business. Not that it has fully solved the profit problem. So why don't Amazon or Flipkart just copy this? In theory, they could drop their fees or shut down their in-house brands tomorrow. In practice, those things are already a big part of how they make money. Giving them up would mean giving up a large slice of their own revenue, just to chase a lower margin customer that they weren't originally built to serve. Meesho, on the other hand, was built from day one assuming that trade-off was worth it. By doing things differently, Meesho found India's biggest, most ignored market, the small towns known as Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. For years, most people assumed these smaller markets weren't worth chasing seriously. The average order on Meesho is much smaller than on Amazon or Flipkart. In a country where a large share of people earn modest incomes, saving even a couple of hundred rupees on a dress or a kitchen tool actually matters. Meesho's buyers generally care less about getting something delivered the next day and more about getting it at the lowest fair price, even if that means waiting a bit longer. This focus on affordability made Meesho a household name across much of India. It also gave a lot of people, especially women running small businesses from home, a new way to earn money using nothing more than a smartphone. The numbers behind Meesho's growth are hard to ignore. The platform now has over a million sellers offering well over 100 million products, and most of these sellers are selling online for the very first time. The buyer base is just as big. Hundreds of millions of people shop on Meesho every year, and the app has been downloaded more than 500 million times, making it the most downloaded shopping app in the country. Orders run into the billions each year. On the money side, Meesho's revenue for the year ending March 2026 crossed 12,600 crore rupees. A sharp jump from the year before, even though the company still posted a net loss overall, one that has been shrinking year after year. In late 2025, Meesho went public, raising over 5,400 crore rupees in the process. But that listing wasn't really a finish line. It was more like a checkpoint in an ongoing story. The company is still working towards turning a full profit, even as its revenue and reach keep growing fast. Even with this scale, Meesho's founders say the company is still early in its journey. Hundreds of millions of Indians have never shopped online, and Meesho wants to eventually bring around 1 billion users onto the platform. Two things are central to the plan: logistics and artificial intelligence. Shipping a cheap item and still making money is generally hard. Normal shipping costs alone can eat up the entire value of a low-priced product. To solve this, Meesho built its own delivery network called Valmo. It uses local delivery partners in small towns to move packages more cheaply than regular courier companies. Valmo now handles most of Meesho's orders, helping keep shipping costs down. Then, getting the next few 100 million Indians online isn't the same challenge as growing in cities. In rural India, using a shopping app can be genuinely confusing. People can't always read the product details, don't understand unfamiliar buttons, and worry about accidentally spending money. To fix this, Meesho built a voice assistant called Vani. Instead of reading or tapping through menus, users can simply speak in their own language to search for something and place an order. The company says this has clearly improved how many people complete a purchase successfully. Behind the scenes, Meesho also uses an AI system called Prism, which the company says powers a large share of all orders on the platform. Meesho's story is a useful lesson in business, and it's a lesson that isn't finished yet. While its competitors chase the wealthiest buyers in the biggest cities, Meesho focused on everyday Indians outside those cities. It understood that a small shopkeeper in a village just needed fair rules, faster payments, and low fees to survive, and that buyers in smaller towns cared more about a fair price than fast delivery. It's also worth remembering that Vidit and Sanjeev built this model out of their own experience. Growing up in smaller towns, watching their own families and neighbors get left out of India's online shopping boom, that wasn't just a nice backstory. It was the actual insight that shaped everything Meesho built afterward. By stepping away from the usual rules of e-commerce, Meesho built a bridge connecting millions of small sellers directly to the country's biggest, most overlooked customers. It hasn't fully solved the profit question yet, And now, as a public company, it has to prove it can keep this up under real investor scrutiny. But it has already proven something the rest of the industry doubted for years. You don't need to live in big city or sell to one to be part of India's future.